So I went to go grocery shopping yesterday.
All
And
right.
since I moved here in at the end of April,
Mm-hmm.
I've always just gone to walk the 15 minutes to Target. And my roommate told me there was a grocery store closer, but she didn't like make it sound like it was like that much closer. So I was like, you know what? Let me go this way today. Try to see how far it is. I've got nothing else to do. It's right around the corner.
Do you not explore your neighborhoods?
I've been working a lot.
Cue
Cute
intro.
intro.
I'm Rebecca,
And I'm Deanna. And we're
the Halfwit Sisters. Okay, so we had recorded an episode. It didn't go very well.
technical difficulties.
Yeah, yeah.
The two
So
times we tried to record it.
yeah. so so we're doing this again. So for the first episode we recorded is a pilot episode. We weren't really thinking of making this a podcast until like we sat back and we were watching our meeting, so to speak, and we're like, you know what? Why don't we just go through with it
Yeah.
and just make it an actual thing? And I played it back for my roommates. I live with a married couple. I played it back, and they were laughing a lot on the first half until we got to like the ending, and we were just like going back and forth. And I'm like, so boring, Ray.
Yeah, well, and part of the our thing for this podcast is our creative process. So, yeah, sometimes that creative process slows really far down and it's just a whole bunch of back and forth, which is why in that first video, I cut out a good portion of us just hemming and hawing. That's when
hmm
editor Deanna comes in and goes, "I cut out time. Let's move on."
Yeah, so like the last half is more for us just documenting our process on how we're creating our various projects, right?
Yeah.
So kind of let's go through like who we are, right? Who are the Halfwit sisters?
We need to
Why,
talk about why we came up with that name too.
why, yeah, why we came up with that name, and then we'll get into like the other part of it. We talked about a little bit about this before, but a whole lot of news has come out about TikTok since then, and
Yeah.
how really been watching it. So let's really talk about it. And then again, we'll go through towards the end. And I know we can break up the video at the end of the in post. So we'll break it up down in the description. We'll have it by minutes on like if you want to if you want to learn about us, if you want to just hear about our creative process, like where in the minutes you can watch that at.
Okay.
So let's start with who we are. First, DJ, go ahead, take it away. How did we come up with Halfwit Sisters?
Okay, so after that first episode, we were messaging on Facebook because that's how we use a lot of our communication. And we're like we're the bobblehead sisters, and it was like that's not really what we're going to call ourselves. And then I remembered a joke that when we were younger, we had joked about going to audition for America's Got Talent because we both sing, but it's not like a passion
Mm-hmm.
um, that we had pursued. But we're not terrible, so we were joking about it, and we're like, oh, we could be the Easton sisters, like a homage to the Andrew sisters. And I was just like, no. And then Dad goes, you could call yourselves the Halfwit sisters. Together, you make a full wit. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the story. That's how we came up with the name.
Yeah. And we're known also like within our friend groups to always have like moments where we're not all together there.
Yeah, we
So
have
we
our moments of just like really,
that's where you want to go. So we decided just to like really own it. Uh, so that's how we can't got to this point. Uh, so who are we? I'm Rebecca. The oldest of the two of us. There's only two of us. Mom and dad are like, two's enough. I am an indie author, a blogger, and a podcaster. This is kind of the second podcast I've ever done. The first podcast I did was one about the game industry. We did a lot of news. It was called Downloadable Coffee. It's since shut down. I'm not sure if they're ever going to restart it again. Won't be with me. But but if they do, best of luck to those guys. You can find that around the internet. It's still up and going. It's still up. I don't know what they're going to do with it. And you can find a lot of my work on, I guess you can find it on my website. DJ will send you my name and you can put it up on there. It's definitely in the description of our first pilot episode and also in our abouts. There, it's mydyslexicworld.com, and dyslexic is spelled wrong because I thought it'd be funny. Or, in all honesty, I misspelled it when I was trying to write the website name. And it's just kind of stuck ever since then. So it's DES, not DY. And yeah, that's pretty much me.
So I'm Deanna, or DJ. I'm the youngest. Because obviously there's two of us. I'm an actor, a very small-time content creator, brand ambassador, which is just a fancy way of saying I do various events across the city and actually across the states because I have traveled for it, helping brands with their experiential marketing campaigns. So I do everything from handing out flyers on a street corner to running around Times Square going, "Own your O's," for a personal lubricant company.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ah!
Fuzzy purple jacket and everything. It is fantastic. But yeah, it's a job that I enjoy because I get to do a lot of really random stuff in various parts of the city. So, and I live in New York, so
Right. I live in Texas. It's hot. I'm wearing a sweatshirt because my roommates continuously try to freeze me out of our apartment. So
they keep that place so cold.
Oh my gosh, do they ever? Okay, so and this is my little monster. She's just decided that she's just gonna sit there and just nip at me if I don't pet her. So
that's adorable.
That's what a lot of the movement is.
I personally don't have any pets in this apartment, but I do want to introduce you to someone. Yes, I'm still introducing to you. Oop. This is the World War II pilot bus that I used to hold my headphones. My beautiful JBL headphones. So
excited. I'm gonna come visit you now.
Yeah. Look, you get to introduce something. I want to introduce something.
Yeah, now I'm having to remove every cat's thing. Here's the other one. Here. And this is my roommate's cat. One of them.
So fluffy.
Yeah. Now they're all coming over because I've moved just a little. And that one loves my feet, so it's the worst. I can't do anything without them coming and attacking me. Okay, so I've removed their bells and now they won't jingle so much. Okay, so that's us. That is us in a nutshell. Nothing else to really say. It's funny you mentioned small-time creators because I was like, I'm definitely not a big-time creator either. I have like maybe... I have several books out. For sure, I'm like I said, an indie author, but what that really means is I'm a self-publisher. I self-publish just about everything that I do. And I have like, 4 or 5 titles out, I think. I think I haven't kept track. I have like 4 titles out. And most of my very first book that I ever put out never sold more than like 16 copies in its entire lifetime. I put out an audiobook, and that besides the initial stuff, none of that ever got past maybe 10 people. So it's, creating content is really, really hard, and marketing in general, like brand ambassading,
Yeah.
creating content and marketing content is really, really hard in general. So this, I mean, and this is what part of Halfwit Sisters is as well, is a way for us to also talk about our creative processes, and also how we're bringing awareness to our the various content we're creating.
Yeah. Which is definitely something I struggle with because, like, so we talked about it briefly in the first podcast, the first video, where with my holiday series, and I've done 3 of those. I didn't help you. I didn't get your help on the Valentine's one, but I had gotten your help on the other 2. And really, those are just stuff that, like, even with my ART3 series, which is on TikTok, I didn't really market them because for me personally, it wasn't super important that they had a really widespread audience. It was just something that I was doing because I had an idea and I needed to get it out there, and I needed to be proud of myself for creating something.
Right. They were kind of your first foray into like really creating content, because before this you were doing a lot of like student project films. What was it? The Mother of Eggplants?
Motherborn.
Yeah.
Which was for a create-a-thon. You had like 72 hours basically to write, film, edit, and basically just produce a 5-minute short. And I think I'd done it 3 times. One, I failed and I wasn't able to get the project out. The first time I did 2 projects. One was good, one was bad. And then the third time was the Motherborn, and that one I love. You should be able, if you go onto my personal YouTube channel under skits and shorts, find it there.
Mm-hmm.
But I will also link it in the description below for if you want to see it, because that was a lot of fun, and it was just like, yeah, a short.
Mm-hmm. Right. And you are still working. I know I shot down your first draft of it, but still working on a monologue for body neutrality.
Yeah. Which I do have another draft that I want to send you. I've been setting away from it for a few days so that I can come back to it with not as attached, because when you gave me those reviews, I was just like, well, then I don't want to do this.
The classic, like, how dare you hurt my baby?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I got a little too attached to that draft. I need to step back, reorganize my thoughts.
Yeah, criticism is just really, it's an interesting thing to take as a creator, right? Because on the one hand, you're like, I really want to know how you feel about it, because that's the only way I'm going to get better as a creator. But then at the same time, you're like, don't you dare say anything bad about it. I will hurt you.
And that's part of like criticism that you have to learn to take. And some criticism is fantastic. It's like, hey, I don't like this. It's a bit of a rant. It's giving creative feedback on why you don't like something.
Criticism.
That's the word. Constructive criticism is something that's so important, especially to new creators, because if you just go, oh, I don't like that. Oh, okay, but that was my baby, and I don't know why you don't like it, and I don't know how I can improve from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're getting a little further away from what we're talking about. So you have been using the platform TikTok a lot recently for a lot of your content creation. One of them is using the French mirror
Yes,
version.
Which had been running across my feed, and I hadn't seen anyone do it with Snow White in the same sense that I did, where she morphs into the evil champion.
Oop, I think your mic cut out. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I hadn't seen anyone do like I've seen a couple people do it with Snow White, but I hadn't seen it with the where I ended it was her morphing into the evil queen.
Hmm.
Um, when I had thought of that, I was like, and it's after that that I saw other people using Snow White, and I was like, that's fine. They're not doing it the way I thought to do it.
So we also thought to use TikTok as kind of like the lead up to this Choose Your Own Adventure we're planning to do, uh, which means that we've been paying a huge amount of attention to the um
The goings on in the political sector
yes,
involving TikTok and
yes,
its supposed leaks to the Chinese government.
yes. So I really like the title that I'm coming up, and we're definitely going to use this as the title for our podcast or episode today, the TikTok Quandary. And here's where we're at. Okay, 2 weeks ago, when we had first filmed it, was like the weekend after. So 2 weekends ago, Donald Trump had come out and said, "I'm banning TikTok." Be on Saturday. It was Saturday. What was it, like Saturday the 5th or something like that? Uh, I lied. It was Saturday the 2nd, right?
Yeah.
Saturday the 1st. The 2nd. Sunday was the 2nd.
August
So
1st.
yeah, August 1st, he's like, I'm going to ban TikTok. It's a Chinese owned company. It's giving American information to the Chinese government, and they could use that information to spy on Americans and potentially influence the uh, upcoming election.
Yeah.
Um, that is what Donald Trump had said.
Yeah. So, in actuality, TikTok has actually been trying since last year when that first supposed leak type thing came about. TikTok has been trying to reach out to the American government to show them that no, all your information for the TikTok users is stored on TikTok on U.S. soil. It's solely in the U.S. It's not sent to the Chinese government. It's not sent to China. It's housed and stored in on U.S. soil. They've been trying to do this for the last year, and like no one has responded to them. They like no. Um,
Nobody in the Trump administration has been
yes,
responding. Hmm.
no one in the Trump administration has been responding to that. So they've been trying for the last year to prove that they haven't been doing this.
Hmm.
Because TikTok doesn't take any more information than Facebook. Actually, it probably takes less information than Facebook, Instagram, and any other social media site that you can use. And it definitely takes a lot less information than, like, say, something like, oh, I don't know, Google.
Google does have a lot. Well, so this is what brings us to a story that US Today had brought up, where they had talked about kind of Trump versus Gen Z, right? And so this is kind of where a lot of people believe this is the real reason why, and we can kind of put it underneath conspiracy, but this is kind of what why a lot of people think that Trump really wants to ban TikTok, besides the whole being connected to a Chinese company. One of the things that if you aren't if you're not based in the US, one of the things that when the presidential campaigns start, there's a lot of campaigning, and in one particular place there was supposed to be this very big show up of about 40,000 people in a small place called Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the Trump administration, the Trump campaign, was so excited to see this giant number of supposed turnouts that when the day finally came and there was only 25 people that showed up, they were kind of upset. And then around that time is when the Trump campaign started to start running ads on Facebook and Instagram against TikTok. And specifically, the quote that US Today says is the announcement, which announcement means we're planning the ban for TikTok. The announcement comes weeks after Trump critics used TikTok to try to inflate, I keep saying infiltrate, but inflate expectations for turnout at the president's rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Trump's presidential campaign page has been running ads on Facebook and Instagram against TikTok since then. So this is like Gen Z versus Trump. And right now, it seems like Gen Z is kind of winning.
Yeah. So, yes.
In the troll department. Let's just say in the troll department, because it's not stopped. Like, we've seen, because we do a lot of scrolling through TikTok, but we've seen, like, there's like, all sorts of different TikTok things that are poking fun at Trump. President Trump, like things like, hey, if you're gonna vote for President Trump this time around, you know, stand up, and like all the videos just show people like falling over.
They're just like, let's show them how many Trump supporters we have, and then everyone just goes.
Yeah. I like
right
the one
out
where I saw the lady like shove her cat over, like, not my cat.
Other people like reach up and just start putting down the photos that they have attached, standing up. It's like, nope,
Yeah.
no one in this household.
Oh gosh. Yeah. But so we've been watching the pretty much everything. At the time, there was just a landslide. Business Insider, App News, Engadget, Washington Post, Forbes, US Today, BBC, Fortune, The Verge. The Verge was actually talking about why Microsoft wants to buy TikTok. And so that was the other thing. And since then, that was the other thing. There's companies that are talking about now buying TikTok from ByteDance or BitDance? BitDance.
I don't remember. One of the two.
From because of President Trump wanting to shut down TikTok. Microsoft being one of the main companies known to be wanting to do that. Now, since then, over the weekend, this weekend or over last week,
over the weekend,
yeah, President Trump signed an order that said, I forgot to grab that article, but President Trump signed an executive order that said that
TikTok must sell
or be banned
by like September 15th. So.
Right, and that was done. That's from NPR.org. That's where that's from. I just found the article.
Yeah,
and this has got a lot of people up in arms because it's like, what are you doing?
Like, I know it pissed me off personally because it was just like, you are forcing two private companies into a business deal and giving them an end date.
Mm-hmm. The end date being September.
Yeah. And that just seems like a super overreach of his power. Like, I understand the government coming into business deals for certain reasons, but I don't feel like this is a reason that it doesn't seem to be a reason that you should be involved in this. Let them talk it out. Let them come to a fair deal. Step away from it. You shouldn't have gotten involved in this anyway, because all your security concerns, they're willing to talk to you about. You just ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go and sign this order that's just like, hey, do this, and also I want a part of that money.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm facilitating this deal. No, you're not facilitating it. You're forcing it.
Mm-hmm. Right. So this has understandably gotten a lot of creators, including us, both upset, but also kind of wondering, like, what's going to happen now, right? Like, come September 15th, if Microsoft or whatever other company doesn't make the deal, right, the executive order goes into place, what then? And I know, because we have an article here that talks about how India, when tensions between China and India rose, China got banned TikTok.
Yeah.
Right. But there's still Indian teens that are using TikTok and they're getting around it.
Yes.
Right.
So that was one of the things that I was really curious about because I knew India had banned it. India banned a whole slew of Chinese apps because of the very real violent actions that were happening. Not hearsay or anything like that, but actual altercations that were happening. So they did a blanket ban, and I was curious on how they even went about that. And what they did was they got all the service providers to stop the data from going through to their phones. That was how they did it. They blocked the data, incoming data. Teens got around this with some mixed success, because I did read a couple articles that said it didn't work for some people, but using a VPN, which a lot of people use for security reasons, but they also use so that they can get like UK Netflix and see the stuff on UK Netflix.
Yeah.
Some data on very popular sites is blocked depending on where you are.
Mm-hmm.
So I was curious because it wasn't just India that blocked it. It was also Hong Kong too.
Mm-hmm.
Hong Kong blocked TikTok too, banned TikTok too. But there's still Hong Kong and Indian creators that use it in those places. And so yeah, I was curious, and that's how I came upon that interesting bit of information. And so I was curious on how that would work in the States, because we don't have like one centralized hub of service providers. We have a lot. So he would have to order all of them to block the data. And he would have to order Apple and Google Play to use their kill switch, which allows them to remotely go into every device and wipe the data from that app and remove the app from your phones.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not know that kill switch existed until I looked that up.
Right. I mean, Apple and Google also have like their terms of use as well, right? That you have to pass, and they've pulled down apps in the past if they didn't meet the terms of use. And on top of that, like, countries also have their own protection acts. Like, Europe right now has the General Data Protection Regulation Act, which is kind of the right to be forgotten. So if they reach out, like let's say I reach out to Google and say, hey, I want you to delete all of my information, every bit of information you've ever collected on me, I want you to delete it right now. They have to. Then on the US side, for children, we have the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, which means like you can only get a certain amount of it. You can only collect a certain amount of information from children under the age of 13, right? So if your app is targeted to kids under the age of 13, then you can only collect a certain amount of data.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like there aren't things in place. It's more like there isn't. What am I trying to say? there's there's a lot of things in our world that are in place, but we also have to keep in mind that there's also technology is advancing so quickly that it is getting harder to police a lot of things as well.
Yeah. And that was one thing that that article, the NPR article, I want to say was that said this was the Senate had also just passed when Trump signed that executive order. The Senate had just passed a law that says you're not allowed to download TikTok onto government phones.
Right. Right.
I'm not mad about that because it's a government phone. You shouldn't have any social media on there.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's that's some privacy protection stuff there. Oh, okay. Side note. There was this, I'm not going to call it the creator really, but I had seen this creator who had gotten fired from their job because they had shown how to open a day in a shop that they worked at, right? And they got upset that they got fired. And I was like, you got fired not because you showed how to open your shop, but because you actually showed proprietary information. You showed how to actually log into the computer and what the information is on the back end, the programs you use for that shop. Like, that's why you got fired.
Yeah. There's tons of creators that show days at work of their day at work, but they're not showing information that's not like they're not showing the actual files and software that they're using.
Right. So if you're working in the Pentagon, you better not have TikTok on and and doing some hey, check out my day at the Pentagon kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't even care if you work at Subway and the Pentagon. Like, you better not.
Yeah. So it's like, and that's part of like knowing when it's okay to show stuff on social media, and when it's not.
Right.
But like, yeah. So when the Senate passed something like that, I'm like, I'm not mad about that. That shouldn't have been a thing in the first place. The allowances that you give to social media that you agree to when downloading it, while it shouldn't present a security risk to your company, you don't want to take that you don't want to take that what's the word?
Risk.
Boing. So yeah, private companies, company phones, government phones. Yeah, I'm not mad about companies and the government not wanting them on their phones that they're paying for. My personal phone is another thing. I don't put information. I don't log on to like I currently work at a hospital. I don't log on to my hospital email on here because this is not like a secure phone.
Right. So we just wanted to bring. Okay, let's kind of back up. Like, why did we want to bring this up? One, because we're paying attention, right? And this very much informs one of the things of like what happens if we're building content, right? And part of the content we're building is the lead up to the choose your own adventure, right? It's the attention grabber to, hey, in this time, at this point in September, we're going to launch a choose your own adventure game for you to play. But if we can't use, if TikTok is going to be banned because Microsoft doesn't buy it or whoever doesn't buy it, right? Then why spend the time building for TikTok, you know?
Yeah.
Right? So those are questions we're now having to answer. right?
Yeah.
And creators right now so there are people who are following, like one of my favorite creators, gosh, I can't even pronounce her thing. She did like the thing that really brought her to the front is like she did a Eraserhead skit, and it made her super popular. Um, the so a lot of people were freaking out when the whole TikTok being banned thing got got announced. And so she started sharing all of her social media stuff like, hey, look, if TikTok goes away, and that's what a lot of creators are doing now, if TikTok goes away, here's where you can follow me at. Here's my YouTube, here's my OnlyFans, here's my thingy that you can follow me at to keep up,
Yeah.
right? I'm not disappearing just because TikTok is going away. And in a way, this is kind of like, it's kind of like Vine, right? When Vine disappeared, a lot of creators disappeared.
Yeah. Some transitioned really well into YouTube, but it's also a very different medium because TikTok you have at most a minute of
Mm-hmm.
time. And YouTube you have a lot longer, and like those minute long videos don't do well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was just like that's the reason a lot of the Vine creators just went away because their medium was gone.
Right. And Twitter didn't do anything to support it once they bought, because Twitter was the one that bought out Vine, right? Twitter didn't really do anything to like really support the transition. And and Snapchat seemed like it was a viable place to go to, but after a while, like it didn't catch on, or a series of changes that they had made didn't chased out their own user base,
Yeah.
right?
It
Like at
also
one point,
You okay?
it helped my eye. That's fine. It's fine. I was attacked by my own sweater, but whatever.
It also, I don't know, I never downloaded Vine, but I had used Snapchat for a while. It's just, the the UI on there just doesn't seem like it's really a video sharing thing in the same way that TikTok or Vine is and
hmm
was.
Well, they were trending in that direction. And then I don't know what happened, but they made a series of UI changes. They stopped listening to their user base, and it seemed like they chased people off. Like that was the last thing I had heard from the whole Vine the whole Snapchat fiasco, was
Yeah.
they were trending, and they were on track to really compete with Vine and Instagram before Instagram was bought out by Facebook, right? They were on track to compete with them, and then they made a couple changes, and it was like overnight nobody liked the changes they made. They complained. Snapchat was like, whatever. And then their user base was like, right back at you, and left.
Yeah.
Like that's what happened. And yeah, I think you said the last time we tried to do this episode, like they've tried to like make some changes since then to bring back people via news, like 10 byte news, but
Now, and then it is doing well. I don't remember if this was the first episode or the last one we tried to boot. I do have the stock in it, and it's granted I have one in it, so it's like if I sold it now, I'd make money on it.
Mhm.
Not a lot of money, but it's only one stock. Um, but so it is coming back up, which is good. But I don't foresee it being a medium to replace TikTok.
Right. Right. Well, so okay, so we spent a lot of time talking on this. We spent about the entire episode talking about this. So really quickly, I wanted to get into. I think today we're just really going to talk about the Trello board, because I think this is something that I just need to introduce you to, so that you kind of get a good understanding about how it is that we're going to be managing a lot of our project here.
Okay.
right? So we'll talk about that for this episode. And then on the next episode, we'll probably get into more on like how we're gonna handle file sharing and whatnot.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's gonna be also a thing we're gonna have to struggle with. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me know when you can see it. Do you see it?
Nope.
What do you mean no?
Did you share screen?
I shared the screen. Alright, I just stopped sharing the screen. Start sharing. Do you see it?
Nope.
What do you mean no?
I mean, no.
Sharing? It should have said it's sharing.
It's not on mine.
Watch the playback and it's like, there it is. There it's not. There it is.
Ah, there we go.
It's just you. Okay, so I have a bunch of things up. But I think the biggest thing that I really want to get you to understand is sort of the Trello here. I'm probably going to break us into two boards, one that's separate for Project Evil and then one that's separate for Halfwit Sisters so that we can really keep a control over what we're doing here.
Okay.
That way we're not getting too like mixed up here. But kind of what you see here, you have creating the mythos, you have week 1, week 2, week 3 so far. And this is just kind of what I've gotten done for us so far. Channel building, this is everything I did for creating Halfwit Sisters, including like creating our YouTube channel, getting pretty much documenting our whole process. Podbean, setting up our OneDrive folder, adding links to our master doc. These master docs are going to be really important, especially as we start growing our channel more and more, and keeping keeping a better like defined list on. So like here, this is like one example. Can you still see it?
Yes.
Okay, so here's like one example of right, our show scripts. So pilot episode, the TikTok Quandary. Here's the link to the Podbean. Here's a link to our YouTube channel. And I was thinking of maybe moving it into an Excel for even better, like, just looks. I don't know. I'm playing around with it. I just don't want to get too stuck in it. But the other thing that I have here is, so this Trello has what's called a power up. So when you are in one of the things here, right? One of the boards. Wait, one of the cards. I'm sorry. So this is a card. The whole thing is called a board.
1 second.
All right, this thing is the card. You keeping up?
Yeah, sorry. I was so confused on why there was a mouse cursor in the middle of the screen that wasn't moving. I just realized it was mine. I'm like,
okay.
Why is that one not moving?
Okay. So, going back. So one of the things that Trello has in the middle of this is they have like attachments. And right in here, you can go to like Google, OneDrive. Oh, I'm not going to do that right now on screen. But underneath, like attachment, I'll probably end up fixing this later. But I can take this copy this link here.
Mm-hmm.
You can blur those things out later if you don't want people to see our emails. And just attach that. And that'll put that OneDrive, or that, I said OneDrive, that Google Doc right in here in that board. in
Okay.
that card so that we're able to also keep track if we need to. Right. And in the brainstorming one, if we get to like, okay, here's Belladonna's boss. Oh, I really like that. I'll move it to over to like, okay, so this is Belladonna's boss. It's in review. Oh, we really like it. Okay, script Belladonna's boss. All right. We kind of, now it's in review. Finish the scripting. Now it's in review. Okay, cool. We like what it is. Awesome. Go straight into storyboard and film. Great. Now we can go ahead and move it into the cutting room. So the cutting room, I'm putting it like that's the post. That's where we're finishing the edits and everything. Like the pilot episode is an example here.
Yeah.
This is the OneDrive that we have. So we finished the pilot episode. We're both like, yeah, we liked where it is. So we move it into complete, and that's where it's going to stay.
Okay.
So anything that's completed is there. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes. Shouldn't there be one more between the cutting room and complete? Another review.
Yeah, probably. I just haven't added it.
Okay.
Because again, I'm gonna be splitting this into another board.
Okay.
Because I really just smashed everything together because we hadn't fully fleshed out both Halfwit and Project Evil
Yeah.
entirely. So that's everything I have. Like your terrible bosses thing, I went ahead and I put that in terrible, make terrible bosses
Okay.
right there. It's in that thing, so I can pull that up whenever I want. Um, Henchman 71 8 18 or 7 18 20. I was thinking that's Belladonna before she's Belladonna.
Okay.
So there's a whole bunch of things there I've got. I just haven't like really put it in. Um, but so this is what I've got us down so far. My focus last time was after we decided to go ahead and make Halfwit Sister an actual thing was less about getting Belladonna together and more about getting everything else together.
Do you know which files you're going to, Becca?
I was clicking through. Okay, let me stop sharing. Was less about getting Belladonna stuff together and more about getting all of our other stuff together. The
Yeah.
Halfwit Sister YouTube, like I had to create the brand and stuff. I had to create some of our other littler things to get that together.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about more in that in our next episode because that is a story for you. Because I want you to hear that story and understand what happened to me through that entire creative process.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where we're at. Next next episode, we'll talk about more on like we'll talk. I'm going to tell you the story of what happened with creating the Halfwit Sisters stuff, as well as some of the idea, and then we can talk about some of our ideas for Belladonna coming up. And
Ooh, is that where I get to also talk about the intro that I just made?
yes, yes, we won't talk about it. We didn't talk about it this time, but we're going to talk about it next time.
Okay.
This one was just to catch up because we weren't able to talk about it on because of the last,
Yeah.
so
Because of technical difficulties.
yeah, because of the technical difficulties. We're actually recording. I'll just say it now. We're actually recording 2 different episodes in one day.
Yeah. So, all right. So I think that's where we're gonna sign off.
Yep.
And before we forget, like and subscribe.
Yeah, I'd heard that it wasn't great to be saying that stuff, but I don't know. I hear creators do it all the time. So if you want to keep up with us and also hear more about our frustrations with creating on TikTok and various other platforms, like, subscribe, and check down in the descriptions for other channels where you can follow us, as well as any of the articles that we read over the last couple of weeks on the stuff going on with the TikTok drama.
Also, if you have any questions, definitely put them in the comment section down below. And then we can answer them, not next episode, but the episode after that. Because
Yeah. Alrighty. Talk to you all later.
bye.